So basically, the parsha of Matot Maseh is the idea that life is a journey, and the 42 places that we were at, from Egypt to Israel, are symbolic to our 42 stages or parts on our personal, emotional, spiritual journey. And so there are many things to say about that, but we'll start with the first story and we'll see where it takes us. Okay. So the first story is called the burning eyes, and it's about ice, and it's about the Baal Shem Tov. And the story goes like this: there was one tzaddik, the student of the Baal Shem Tov. He went with the Baal Shem Tov to the mikveh, and the mikveh, wasn't like in our times. You come into a warm place with a heated pool. They would go out into the wilderness and they would dig a hole in the icy water and jump in it. And so anyway, they were standing there, and they had a little candle with them, and the candle started to go out. It was finishing up, and the Baal Shem Tov told the guy, take a little ice. What do you call it? Icicle. Yeah, take a little icicle, and turn on the candle. And he said, whoever told the oil to burn will tell the ice to burn.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the ice can burn.
When you're supernatural, when you turn on your supernatural powers. So, and they told the story that the candle went with them for another hour or two until they had come home, and they still had a little water flaming up, like the candle was still flaming in the water.
I don't exactly understand what did they do with that icicle and the candle?
He just said, just like you put up a match to a candle and it turns up.
Or they just put that
Yes,
icicle to the
as
flame.
if it's a match. Like instead of adding oil, they added water, basically ice.
But we presumably had ice and water in Egypt in the plagues.
That's right.
Say it again?
Ice and water in Egypt in the plagues.
In the hail.
Flame in the hail.
Yeah,
in
the hail, yeah.
That was one of the tricks.
Yeah, right.
Not tricks.
Yeah.
Supernatural phenomena.
I shouldn't have problems with that one.
Right. So it's actually interesting. I think it gives us an opportunity to talk about the whole idea of really believing in our supernatural powers. Because when I read these stories, it doesn't tell me about the greatness of course it tells me about the greatness of the Baal Shem Tov, but whenever I read something, also with we were discussing it earlier about Moshe Rabbeinu and anger after the class, when I read about our sages and our holy people, holy masters, and whether from the times of the Torah or from after, I want to learn about it for myself. I don't want to just learn that once upon a time there was this amazing human being. I want to ask myself how these sages had the same struggles like I do and how they dealt with them. I don't want to get them out clean from the story. I want to ask myself how they dealt with the same emotions, the same struggles as I do. And if I learn a story about supernatural powers, I want to ask, how do I turn on supernatural powers in myself? I'm not pretending, I'm not megalomania, I'm not pretending to be the Baal Shem Tov, but I want to ask myself, how do I flame up those supernatural powers in myself? So it's actually very interesting. Today they talk a lot about, it used to be that physiology and emotional powers were two different things, right? Then Chinese medicine came into the popularity, and we started, integrating into our idea that body and soul go together, or, mind over matter, and all those concepts, right? So, but Judaism has been telling it to us for thousands of years. And when it comes to this, to the Ari stories, the Baal Shem Tov stories, right? I mean, it starts with the Torah itself, right? We have the opening of the Red Sea. and we have Avram Avinu not burning in the flame, and we have, right, other stories, whatever you want to remember, like throw it in, right? So how do we integrate it into our lives? That so today it's actually very interesting that we know already, it's scientifically observed how like if we would think that we're only genetically built and only physiologically built, right? Today we already know that we have an interaction, right? It's like, okay, so once upon a time we thought that our mood, for example, or our feelings, for example, are based on our hormonal imbalance that has to do, for example, with our thyroid imbalance, right? But today we already know that it goes in both directions, right? If you have an inflammation or like an increase of bad emotions, right, it will throw you off hormonally, right? It's interacted in both ways, right? So to me, it very much connects to the idea of Hakol bidei shamayim chutz mirat shamayim. Everything is in the hands of Hashem except for the awe of Hashem. But I very much like to look at the word yira from the place of re'iyah. That if you switch the letters of the word awe, Hebrew yira, you will get the word sight, re'iyah. So there's one Talmid Chacham. He's a psychiatrist actually, but he's a great Talmid Chacham, and he has this concept that he talks about a lot. He says his name is Michal Abulafia, and very interesting lectures. I really recommend. And he talks about, like he says, don't al tikra yirat shamayim, tikra re'iyat hashamayim. Don't read it the awe of heaven, the awe of God, but read it as the sight of heaven, right? It's like that idea that heaven is like so far beyond. And if we think about it, astronomic ideas, right? Like where's the sun, where's the moon, where's the stars, what do we know about them, etc. But also on a spiritual level, it's like a metaphorically speaking about the spiritual, how much we want to touch the sky, how much we want to touch the not understandable, the things that are beyond us, right? So we don't completely understand how our body and soul interact with each other. We don't completely understand how mind works over matter. We're learning now more and more about it. Please, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about it in a minute. But I want to, I want to go there. I want to touch it on a deeper level. And to me, this is what this story resembles. That idea of reminding ourselves, to be able to touch the beyond of where my soul can work my body, or where my soul can, accelerate processes in my self-healing, so to speak. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Several years ago, well, probably somewhere between 10 and 15 years ago, one of my new patients came to me, and Mahalo sees angels. And he came in to see me, and half the time he was looking not at my eyes, he was looking at my left shoulder. And I said to him at the end of the medical visit, I hear you see angels. He said, yeah, Doc, you wouldn't believe you've got a really powerful angel sitting on your left shoulder. You gotta listen to him. And so, ever since then, I did. I even went to a Rav and took lessons in how to listen to my angel. And I would feel him. I would feel a little bit heavier on my left shoulder, particularly if I got angry. Talk about Avodah Zarah.
Right.
This morning, my angel would run away.
Wow.
Run away from the anger. I would feel lighter.
Wow.
And I couldn't treat people.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I can prescribe prescriptions. That's not medicine. That's being a pharmacist. But it was treating people.
I told you you're in good hands.
Figuring out what to do. Well, it happened this morning. Shoshana's been having pain for 5 days. It was this morning. All of a sudden, something came to me and said, "Should put on
Those things on her, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's in between physical stuff and just supporting the body and letting the body heal itself. But what I wanted to say was that just yesterday we were talking, and I told Shoshana about how scared I always am. I'm afraid of making a mistake. And I can remember I've been a doctor 40 years, and 30 of them, it was just basically being afraid of making a mistake, having to be not just the best doctor I could be, but being afraid I was missing something. Too many investigations, etc., etc. The minute that I started listening to the angel, which is totally supernatural, I wasn't quite as worried because all I had to do was take a deep breath, relax, and let the angel do the seeing, because I do a lot of manual medicine. And it fits in completely with what you're saying. My psychologist, when I told him about my angel, he said, Jonathan, it's your intuition, it's your experience. This is all that it is. It's all in the head. Don't worry about it, and don't tell people about your angel. They might think.
Right.
It didn't stop me because I love talking about the angel because that is such a powerful feeling. Just the idea of something comes from nowhere, and it was really so powerful. I could tell stories, but it would take up the whole time.
It gives you a lot of humility. It's like a lot of people ask me, I do emotional therapy. So a lot of people ask me, so can you help me? And like, it's very uncommercial, but I'm like, I'm not the one who's helping you. He's helping you,
Exactly.
right? Sometimes I'll have the right attitude. Sometimes I'll have the right words. Sometimes I'll have the right advice, but it's not me, it's him, right? So obviously it's not very healthy for my business to promote myself in that way, but
Well, it is
but
because not everybody can connect.
right,
So they can go
Right.
to someone else who's not,
Right.
you're making the connection.
right? So but people are like, and we always, when we went with our kids to the doctors, right? I never ran to the doctor like whenever something happened, right? Unless I really, was worried. But, if it was like a flu or something, I would wait like 2-3 days to see where it's going, give them some vitamins, whatever, or some orange juice, right? and and then we would be like, okay, obviously we need the doctor's angel, right? Because it's a concept, like it's a concept in Judaism that you don't go to the doctor, that you go to the doctor's angel. So whoever told you that must have known that, So yeah, and we're like our like, not joke, but like our family saying was always, oh, this doctor has good angels, right?
I've never heard anyone
Yeah. We always said that our whole life. So I don't know where I got it from, like years ago. I don't remember. And and it's like so good to know a doctor who knows that he has an angel. Yeah.
The Rebbe always says, I've heard this from many sources, that if you're ill, seriously ill, you consult with 2 doctors you trust, which means you're getting double or triple angels just by doing that outreach.
Right. Right.
Or maybe one will help.
There is a saying, "המיטב לרופאים לגיהנום,"
Right. Right.
which
Right.
my son's tried to explain to me several times.
Right. Your son is also in the medical business, right?
It's about arrogance. It's my work, my hand that did this.
Right. And I had like an unbelievable story with one of my kids who was like a 1-year-old baby. Him and his brother were playing in the room, and he chewed on a pen, and he comes to me with it, like, we were in the kitchen. He comes to me with his 2 fists, and I'm like, and I see something in his mouth, and I go like, what's in your mouth? And he won't take it out. So I looked in his hand, and I saw these broken pieces of pen. I realized that's what in his mouth was, right? It was my second son. So I still didn't know that back then, and I was like, I got worried. I was like, take it out. And he wasn't taking it out. I got worried, and I started going like that. and he did dafka and he swallowed it. And he started choking on it, and my husband Heimliched him, and then later, a couple of hours later, I saw that he wasn't breathing well when I was putting him to sleep. So like if I would hold him like this, he was okay, but if I would lay him down, the breathing canal was closing. And anyway, it took us a whole week of like running from one doctor into another, from one hospital to another. All of them were like excusing us with it's nothing. I'll save you the whole details. And the last hospital we went to, in Karam, they told us we're the best expertise of breathing canals. We got there in the morning. They dragged us a whole day, but he was a tiny, itsy bitsy baby. So they were like, we don't want our stagiaire doing it. We want our professor doing it. But by the time, we dragged you out a whole day in the ER, the professor went home. I don't know why they didn't call him, whatever, but the professor went home and we'll keep you overnight. And, in the meantime, overnight, it was going from one, like his saturation was going down and down and down. In the morning, instead of getting the professor to us, they sent us to the professor without the oxygen balloon. And I saw that things weren't good. And I was like, with the secretary, what's going on? Everybody's chronic, illness here. And we're like emergency. It's different, right? And she's like, Geveret, savlanut, right? I was like, listen, but everybody's chronic patients here. And this is an ER baby, Nothing helped. At some point, I saw I was losing him. I just, marched into the doctor's room with all the chutzpah I could get together. I was like, if you don't look at my baby now, I don't think you're going to have what to look at. Like, it was really looking bad. Anyway, right away, later he admitted to me that, he threw me out of the room and, all the red lights and all the sedation and blah, 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 and later he admitted to me that he should have gone to the operation room, but he was debating at that moment if he had the time to go down to the operation room. Anyway, in the middle, they lost him. They managed to revive him, and it was like a big, big miracle. And then, like when he went out, it was actually also very like my prayer mode was like very interesting. At some point, I was just like I couldn't even say Tehillim. And it was also very interesting how I was praying and I felt a relief at some point. And I was like, and then right as I felt a relief, there were two doctors and one came out and said, it's under control. We're okay. Like we found it. Now we're taking it out. And I was like, Hodu Lashem Kitov. And then I don't know why, like a second later, I burst into crazy tears again. And I mamish felt like they were losing him. And later I found out that second they were losing him again. And anyway, why am I telling you this whole long story? Cut into pieces. Because later the doctor came and said to me, I don't believe in Hashem, but I can't explain physically how your child is alive. Yeah. So then it was like for another couple of days on tubes and whatever, but it was like a very touching story on how, like a doctor who was like, I'm a complete atheist, but, this makes me wonder, right? If I'm a complete atheist. So, yeah. But anyway, the commentaries on this story, he says he takes it into a whole different place. He says a small tzaddik makes small flames into big fires, or small lights, right? Small fires into big fires. A medium tzaddik manages to light up fires that are like almost out, like basically souls that are almost out, right? To revive souls that are almost out. A big tzaddik manages to bring to life completely, like out fires, out souls. And but the tzaddik of the generation, the father of all tzaddikim, can even put up a fire and make up a big fire from souls that are already as cold as ice. So obviously it's very metaphorical, but like, you know, and I just want to meditate, take a minute to think about who we know that we can put some fire on their hearts, right? To take away the cynicism, to take away the skepticism, to take away the disbelief, to take away the atheism, to take away all this coldness of we don't believe in Hashem, or we don't believe in love, or we don't believe in a better world. Whatever it is that it's hard for us to believe, how Mashiach can come, how we can revive this world and make it a better world. Wherever there's like a little hole, wherever our fire went down to or somebody's fire that we know, and help them light up that fire.